The New York Knicks, one of the most accomplished and storied franchises of all time, especially over the past 20 years. Their success over the past 20 years rivals that of the New England Patriots, with legends like Dennis Smith Jr., Kevin Knox, Emmanuel Quickly, and Enes Kanter. This team has been a pinnacle of success, competence, and a model of how you build a team, with maybe the best owner in all of sports, in James Dolan. In today's video, we explore how the Knicks became one of the most successful franchises in all of sports. Okay, but no, in all seriousness, the Knicks have been an absolute dumpster fire over the past 20 years. The New York Knicks, as we all know, have been an absolutely depressing franchise for a really long time. This year, they had expectations to be the same old New York Knicks, be trashed and, just have, no direction and no idea of what the future holds. But this year, they have been surprisingly good. As of the recording of this video, they are the 6th seed in the Eastern Conference. And in today's video, let's talk about this team and if they can possibly make the playoffs. Before we do get started though, if you guys enjoyed today's video, make sure you hit that like button if you guys enjoyed, as it helps out the channel a lot. Also, make sure to subscribe if you guys are new and enjoy the content on here so you do not miss out on any new videos. Plus, we are on the road to 500 subscribers, and as a special, I will do a reaction to my first 2 videos ever. Plus, the daily shout out goes to Makai Bruce. Go ahead and check him out. The link to his channel is in the description below, and he makes great basketball content. But without further ado, let's get this video started. Now, I want to start out by talking about the Knicks roster, and let's start out by talking about Alfred Payton. And Alfred Payton is not a top-tier superstar point guard, but he is still, I'd say, a pretty solid player. Now, his 3-point shooting really is just not that amazing, but he can defend well, and he is a pretty good playmaker, and he's an alright scorer. And this past year, well, so far, he's averaging 12 points per game and 4 assists per game, shooting 44% from the field. RJ Barrett is the next player I want to talk about. And RJ Barrett had an alright, not a terrible rookie year, but this year, he has really improved. He's a pretty good scorer. His shooting has definitely improved. It's not amazing, but his shooting is alright, and his defense is not that bad either. And so far, this year, he has been averaging 16.5 points per game, 3 assists per game, shooting 43.5% from the field, and 34.5% from 3. He has been a really big part of this success, and hopefully, he continues to improve. Derrick Rose is the next player I want to talk about, and Derrick Rose has had an amazing career revival over the past few years. And on the Knicks, he's been a pretty solid player for them, averaging 12.5 points per game, 5 assists per game, shooting 43% from the field, and 45.5% from 3. Granted, on just 2 3-point attempts per game in the time he's getting. Alec Burks is the next player I want to talk about. And Alec Burks, to me, he's one of the most underrated role players in the NBA. I mean, the guy is a very good 3-point shooter, and while his field goal percentage has not been that good this year, as he is shooting just 41% from the field, I believe. I mean, the guy is a pretty good offensive wing who can score the ball, and is a really good 3-point shooter. And so far, he has been averaging 11 points per game, 2 assists per game, 4 rebounds per game, shooting 40% from 3. Emanuel Quickly is the next player I want to talk about. And Emanuel Quickly has been a really good and pleasant surprise for the Knicks. The guy was not a first-round pick, I believe a second-round pick, but man, has he been a steal, for New York. As coming off the bench in the playing time he's getting, he is averaging 13 points per game and 2 assists per game, shooting 39% from 3. Julius Randle is the next player I want to talk about. And Julius Randle, he has been flat out amazing this year. He made his first All-Star team this past and so far, and he has been just improved as a player and has just been amazing. How else do I put it? He is easily this team's best player. He can score the ball well, he's a really good rebounder, and his shooting has also been really good, and his playmaking has also been pretty decent this year. So far this year, he has been averaging 23 points per game, 5.5 assists per game, and 11 rebounds per game, shooting 48% from the field and 41% from 3, and he is doing that on a numerous amount of attempts, so it's not necessarily like he's taking like 1 or 2 3-pointers a game. He's actually been really good from 3. Obi Toppin is the next player I want to talk about. And Obi Toppin, the guy has not gotten a lot of opportunity, unfortunately. And because of that, well, he has not exactly had the most exciting and electrifying rookie year. As in 13 minutes per game, he is averaging 5 points per game and shooting 48% from the field. But hopefully, as time goes on, he gets more opportunity and he shines in the opportunity he does get. Mitchell Robinson is the final player I want to talk about. And Mitchell Robinson, I mean, the guy is not anything crazy, but he is still a really good player. He is a good traditional big, and so far has been averaging 8 points per game and 8 rebounds per game, shooting 66% from the field. Now, the Knicks roster, it's not crazy talented, okay? It really is not. But hey, it's still pretty decent, and of course, they got some pretty good players. I mean, the young talent on this team is pretty good with RJ Barrett, Mitchell Robinson, Julius Randle, along with Emanuel Quickly and Obi Toppin. So they definitely have, a bright future as they got pretty good young talent. It turns out, so far, they have been pretty good this year. Now, in terms of the team stats and how well they've been performing as a team, obviously they've been pretty good, but they are just 23rd out of all teams when it comes to offensive net rating. But defensively is where it really does get good, as they are the second best team in terms of defensive net rating. And in terms of opponents, per game, those stats, they hold them to shooting 33% from the field, and they hold them to shooting just 43% from the field, and only allow 104 points per game. Then Tom Thibodeau has just been an outstanding coach for this team. They kind of remind me of the 2018-19 Brooklyn Nets. They're led by a player who's, around an all-star level player. In this case, it's Julius Randle. For the Nets, it was D'Angelo Russell. Plus, they got some really good role players around them. Along with that, the coaching is very good, and the coaching is a big part of why they are just that good of a team. In this case, it's Tom Thibodeau. For the Nets, it was Kenny Atkinson. He's a good coach. I don't know why. They fired him for all of the other reasons. But anyways, this video is not about that. That is a discussion for another time. The talent on this team, it's pretty decent. Plus, the fact that the defense has just been this good makes it really hard to, stop them. And it makes it kind of hard to score on them. Not only that, but if they make it to the playoffs, Derrick Rose would be a very good, he'd be a very valuable player on this team, as he's a well-experienced veteran who's gonna be a really good locker room presence for this team, who can help out young guys. And if they, if they do make the playoffs, he has a lot of playoff experience and he can really help out young guys. Plus, the guy is very productive on the court. Given how well the players have really just been playing, and the coaching, and how guys like Julius Randle just playing the way they've been, and how the Eastern Conference has been pretty weak this year, I do think it's very possible that the Knicks could make the playoffs. And that already answers the question: is this team really a playoff team, and can they make it? As I said before, I do think it is possible that they do make the playoffs. They got a really decent roster. Julius Randle has been amazing, and if he continues to play like this, he will always give the Knicks a chance to win games and possibly make the playoffs. RJ Barrett has also improved a lot, and that also helps the team, as they have another scorer, on the team aside from Julius Randle. Derrick Rose is also a really solid player. Plus, they got Alfred Payton, who's really solid. Reggie Bullock's a good three-point shooter, as I said before. I'm kind of going off the roster. Plus, the fact that this team is just really solid, as I said before. Now, not only that, but I do also want to talk about how good this coaching has really been. Tom Thibodeau has been an amazing hire for this team, and they have finally gotten stability, and that's something they really have not had, for a while. And Tom Thibodeau has just done a great job of providing it to this team. Now, going over the teams that they'll probably compete with when it comes to making the playoffs, possibly, Charlotte is definitely gonna be a factor. Indiana and Miami definitely could end up being in the play-in if they do continue to struggle. Plus Chicago and possibly Atlanta and Washington. And I do think it is possible for them to beat all those teams. Now, Miami and Indiana, I do think they are better teams than the Knicks, even though they have been struggling this year. But even then, it's not impossible to beat those teams. In basketball, it's not impossible for the Minnesota Timberwolves to beat the Utah Jazz. of course, it probably wouldn't happen in a game, but hey, it is definitely possible, okay? I mean, that's just how it is. I do think they can definitely make the play. I mean, I really do think they can really compete with these teams. They really aren't that horrible. I do think their floor as a team is probably like a 12 or 13 seed, mainly because I do think the play-in will be, pretty competitive, as while the East has been pretty weak this year, the play-in section, like the borderline, the lower seed playoff teams, plus the teams, fighting to make it, there are quite a bit of teams that I really do think could possibly make it to the playoffs. So that is the reason why their floor, it could be as low as a 12 or 13 seed, but their ceiling might be as high as the 6 seed if Indiana and Miami continue to struggle. If so, then I do think the Knicks, make it, probably dip to like a 7 or 8 seed, but hey, it is definitely possible for them to make the playoffs. And if they were to make it, I would expect them to be one of the lower seeds, given the fact that I don't think they're good enough to being one of the higher seeds in the Eastern Conference. And I really wouldn't expect them to make it past the first round, but hey, they can put up a good fight. And I mean, that would be a success for the Knicks, considering, how bad they've been over the past 20 years. Either way, New York has a bright future, and if you're a Knicks fan, I think it's time to finally be excited I feel like it's just time to be excited to be a Knicks fan, because their future is really bright, and there is a chance that they could really make the playoffs this year. But with that being said, that will be the end of today's video. Make sure you hit that like button if you guys enjoyed, as it really helps out the channel. Also, subscribe if you guys are new and enjoy the content on here, so you do not miss out on any new videos. Plus, we are on the road to 500 subscribers, and as a special, I will do a reaction to my first 2 videos ever. Also, check out Makai Bruce. The link to his channel will be in the description below. But with that being said, I'm out, you guys.